This video is to help you review for the Unit 2 quiz. Keep in mind that, as we've talked about previously, these will be the types of questions that'll be on the quiz, but not the same questions that'll be on the quiz. You can copy down any of these notes that you wish to, any example problems you wish to, into your workbook to use on the quiz itself. So the first type of question would be, what is the fraction for the image shown in simplest form? So if you look, this is a 10 by 10 square. And so we have 100 squares total, and we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 that are shaded. So there are 60 squares shaded out of 100, and then you would need to be able to simplify that. So when you simplify that, you get 3/5. Now you can do that in multiple steps. You could divide by 2, and then divide by 10 at that point. Or you could divide by 20 right away from the beginning. If you divide by 20, which is the greatest common factor of 60 and 100, then you'll get to the simplest form in one step. So 60 divided by 20 gives you the 3. 100 divided by 20 gives you 5. You'll also have to write a decimal and a percent for a shaded figure. So we already said that that was 60 out of 100. So that would be then 0.60. 60 hundredths as a decimal is 0.60, or you can drop that non-essential 0 and make it 6/10. And we also know that 60 hundredths is the same as 60%. Another thing you'll have to do on the quiz is to be able to work with integers, because that was a focus of this unit. So what is -5 plus 4 plus -3? Now, when you do this, when you're trying to figure out the answers, you could do it on a number line. You could start at -5, go to the right 4 units, and then go back 3 units and see where you land. Another way you could do this is you could use what we consider to be the integer tiles, which is, and I'll try to make these a little bit bigger, which is where you could write down negative signs to represent the -5. So there's my -5, and then positive signs for the, oops, my bad typing, positive signs for the +4. And then you could have another 3 negative signs for the -3. Okay, then you could create any 0 pairs that you can. So negative plus positive, negative plus positive, negative plus positive, that creates 0 pairs. Oh, we got one more that we can create here. Okay, so what are we left with? We're left with 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. So -4 is our answer. Again, you could get that -4 on a number line, or you could get that with the integer tile type problem. What is the value of 5 times -2? Well, 5 groups of -2 is -10. It's like 5 sets of -2, or moving -2 5 times from 0 will land you at -10. What is the value of 3 plus -5 plus 7? Again, you can do this on a number line, or you can do it with the tiles like this and make 0 pairs. But either way, you'll get an answer of +5. And then what is the value of -3 times -4? Now, in many ways, this is the more confusing one. And that's because, again, it seems strange to have a negative times a negative equal a positive. The reason the negative times the negative equals a positive, remember, is that this is like the opposite of. So if you had 3 times -4, you would get -12. But this is like the opposite of that. So you can think of this as like the opposite of 3 times -4. Well, 3 times -4 is -12. But when you take the opposite of that, when you multiply it by the opposite, it becomes a +12. All right. You can also just put into your workbook, if you wish to, just some general rules about multiplying integers. When you multiply integers, you could just remind yourself that a negative times a negative will equal a positive. And again, the idea is sort of like in, the English language, where we say 2 negatives make a positive, like I don't know nothing, all right, means I know something. Don't know, the the don't and the nothing negate each other, so to speak, and become positive. Same concept here. Now, again, keep in mind that's only for multiplying integers. I would not want you to get that mixed up with adding integers, all right? When you add integers, the -5 and -3 does not make a +8, all right? When you add integers, you want to do it on a number line or you want to do it with integer tiles. Multiplying 3/4 times 4/7. You can simplify before you multiply or multiply then simplify. If you simplify before you multiply, you're going to simplify the 4 in the denominator and the numerator, giving you both 1, so you end up getting 3/7. Or if you had not simplified first, you'd have gotten 12/28. Then you can divide by 4 top and bottom and get 3/7 as well. So either way, the final answer is the 3/7. For multiplying 4 1/3 times 3 1/2, you're going to want to change them to improper fractions first. Remember the way that we get those, and we talked about it in our classwork this unit too, but so we take the denominator 3 times the whole number 4 plus the numerator 1. So that's how they're getting the 13. 3 times 4 plus 1 over the original denominator 3. Now, if you think that's something you'll forget, put that into your workbook, all right? It's denominator times whole number plus numerator over the original denominator when you change from a mixed number to an improper fraction. And same thing here. Denominator 2 times whole number 3, 6 plus the numerator of 1 gives you the 7 over the original denominator of 2. Now you can't simplify here before you multiply, so you just have to multiply across. You get 91/6. 91/6, however, is improper. So you're going to need to use your scratch paper and get that to be a mixed number instead. 6 goes into 9 one whole time, giving you 6. Subtract, you get 3. Bring down the 1. 6 goes into 31 5 times, giving you 30. Subtract, you get 1. So this number on the top will always be the whole number. This number will always be the numerator of your fraction, and this will be the denominator. So you get 15 1/6. You'll also have to, for the quiz, give coordinates of different values. So for A, we see that we are over 3 units, and then we are up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So A would have an ordered pair of 3, 5. Don't forget to put it in the right formation, which is the parentheses, number, comma, number, parentheses. B is over 1 unit to the left, which is -1, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So -1, -6. And C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units over, and 2 units down. +7 because it's 7 units to the right, and 2 units down, so -2, 7, -2. You'll also have to complete a scale with tick marks. So we talked about this in this unit as well. 85 minus 25 is what you want to do first. You want to find out what is the length between them. Well, 85 minus 25 is a distance of 60. So what we know is this total length must be 60. Then we count the number of spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, count spaces, not tick marks. So there are 4 spaces between them. So that means the 60, the difference between them, has to be divided by 4. So distance of 60 divided by 4 spaces means that we're going by increments of 15. So if we go by increments of 15, that means you're going to add 15 to 25. 15 plus 25 would be 40. Then you're going to add 15 to 40, which will give you 55, and so on. So that will tell you your missing numbers. All right. If you've done it correctly, this one would be 70, it looks like. Then, of course, when you add the last 15, you should get to that last mark. Another type of problem that you'll have to be able to do for the quiz is to change from a fraction to a decimal into a percent. Remember, we did this again in this unit, but we've also done it prior to that, and that is we're going to start by using our long division to change our fraction into a decimal. Now remember, this fraction bar means division, and it's 3 divided by 8. A common mistake is for people to put the 8 in the dividend, but 3 is being divided by 8. So 8, of course, will not go into 3, so we're going to add a 0 up above, and then we're going to place a decimal point in the dividend and up in the quotient. Once we've placed that decimal point, then we can add an extra non-essential 0 because 3.0 still has the same value as 3. 8 into 30 goes 3 times, giving us 24. Subtract, we get 6. All right. Remember, we're going to continue to divide until we either get a remainder of 0 or a repeating pattern. Of course, neither of those have occurred, so we're going to add then an extra non-essential 0 and bring it down. 8 goes into 60 7 times, giving us 56. Subtract, you get 4. Right, again, we do not yet have a repeating pattern or a remainder of 0. So we're going to add another non-essential 0 and bring it down. And 8 into 40 goes 5 times. That gives us 40. Subtract, and now we do get a remainder of 0, so we are done. So our decimal is 375 thousandths, 0.375. So that's how you're going to write then it as a decimal. Then to change from a decimal to a percent, remember all you need to do is move your decimal point 2 places to the right and add a percent sign. So that'll give you 37.5%. So once you have the decimal, move the decimal point 2 places to the right, add a percent sign. Another type of problem you'll have to do on the quiz will be to find the value of something using absolute value bars. So remember, you're going to want to first figure out the value of what's inside the absolute value bars and then apply the absolute value bars after that. Think of it like a parentheses. We do what's inside first. So 3 plus negative 8, 3 plus negative 8 would be negative 5. Again, you can do that on number line, or you can do it with plus and minus signs. You've got 3 pluses, you've got negative 8. And you got 2 more pluses for positive 2 at the end here. So if you're going to do it with what we call integer tiles, you'd say, all right, this makes a 0 pair, this makes a 0 pair, this makes a 0 pair, and then these two also make 0 pairs. So you're left with negative 3. So you're going to get then the absolute value of negative 3. But absolute value, as we know, makes something positive. And the reason it makes it positive is because it represents distance. Distance from negative 3 to 0 on a number line is 3. So the absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3. Here you're going to want to find the value first of 4 times negative 2.5. Well, 4 times negative 2.5 would be negative 10. 4 sets of negative 2.5 is negative 10. And then when you take the absolute value again of that negative, it's going to become positive. So that is a quick summary of the types of questions that you'll see on the quiz.